Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Munatira Vanacharim Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Behare Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Behare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Radha Madhava ki jai, Jagannath Balaram Subhadra Maharani ki jai, Shri Panch Tattva ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So this morning, instead of Srimad Bhagavatam, we are reading Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita on the occasion of Ratha Yatra and Lord Jagannātha Balaram Subhadra being here. Jayo Jayo Sri Chaitanya Jayo Nityananda Jayo Dvaita Chandra Jayo Ghora Bhakta Vrinda Jayo Jayo Sri Chaitanya Jayo Nityananda Jayo Dvaita Chandra Jayo Ghora Bhakta Vrinda Jayo Jayo Sri Chaitanya Jayo Nityananda Jayo Dvaita Chandra Jayo Ghora Bhakta Vrinda. So we are reading Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 12, which is entitled Cleansing of the Gundicha Mardin, and we are reading 3 shlokas, 2:10, 2:11 and 2:12, but on the board is 2:10, so we will repeat that one. Darśana-lobhete kari maryādā laṅghana bhoga-maṇḍape yāñā kare śrī-mukha darśana darśana-lobhete kari maryādā laṅghana bhoga-maṇḍape yāñā kare śrī-mukha darśana. Please chant. Ladies? Darśana-lobhete, being very eager to see. Kare, doing. Maryādā laṅghana, transgressions of regulative principles. Bhoga-maṇḍape, in the room for offering food. Yāñā, going. Kare, do. śrī-mukha darshan, seeing the lotus face. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Out of great eagerness to see the Lord, they all neglected the regulative principles, and just to see the Lord's face went to the place where the food was offered. Purport. There are many regulative principles of deity worship. For example, one is not allowed to enter the room where food is offered to Lord Jagannātha. But in this case, being very eager because of not having seen the Lord for 15 days, all the people overruled the regulative principles and entered the room. Verse 211. Trisharta prabhura netra brahmara jugal ghada trishnaya piye krishnera vadana kamal. Translation. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very thirsty to see the Lord, and his eyes became like two bumblebees, drinking the honey from the lotus-like eyes of Lord Jagannātha, who is Krishna himself. And 212, Prafula komala jini nayana jugal nilamani darpan kanti gandha jalamal. The eyes of Lord Jagannātha conquered the beauty of blossoming lotus flowers, and his neck was as lustrous as a mirror made of sapphires. Purport. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu usually saw Lord Jagannātha from a distance, standing behind the column of Garuda. But because he had not seen Lord Jagannātha for 15 days, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt great separation from him. In great eagerness, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu crossed the meeting hall and entered the room where food was offered, just to see the face of Lord Jagannātha. In verse 210, this action is called maryādā laṅghana, a violation of the regulative principles. This indicates that one should not come very near a superior. Both the Lord's deity form and the spiritual master should be seen from a distant place. This is called maryādā. Otherwise, as it is said, familiarity breeds contempt. Sometimes coming too near the deity or the spiritual master degrades the neophyte devotee. Personal servants of the deity and the spiritual master should therefore always be very careful, for negligence may overcome them in their duty. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's eyes have been compared to thirsty bumblebees, and Sri Jagannath's eyes have been compared to blossoming lotus flowers. The author has made these comparisons in order to describe Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, while the Lord was deeply absorbed in ecstatic love for Lord Jagannātha. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurat Vishe Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So it is nice to read sometimes Chaitanya Charitamrita instead of the Bhagavatam. Not that the Bhagavatam is inferior, although Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said if there would be some pralaya, some destruction to come, and you can take only 3 books with you, what would you choose? He said, choose Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. But if you cannot carry all 3, they are too heavy and you need to swim in the water of devastation, you can let go of Bhagavad Gita and just carry Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. But even if 2 are too heavy, you can let go of the Bhagavatam and keep only Chaitanya Charitamrita. So this shows the importance of Chaitanya Charitamrita as the postgraduate study of devotional service, as Srila Prabhupada called it. So here we are in the chapter, at the end of the chapter 12, just before the Ratha Yatra. Puri, Gora, just remember, we are in Puri, Jagannath Puri in Gora Lila, just after the Mahaprabhu returned, first year after he returned from the South Indian tour. So in the previous chapter, chapter 11, there was a description of this 15 days Anavasara period after Snana Yatra, where the Lord is performing his lila of being sick, Lord Jagannātha, and there is no darshan. And during this period, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the devotees, they're suffering in separation from Lord Jagannātha because they cannot see him. So Lord Chaitanya even went to Alalanath out of separation, but then when he heard that Gaudiya devotees from Bengal are coming, he came back. And in this chapter we are hearing about the Gundicha Marjana, cleansing of the Gundicha temple, and then just before the Ratha Yatra Netrotsava festival, it's an Utsava of eyes, Netra, means repainting of Lord Jagannath's eyes. It was just finished, and Lord is ready to give first darshan to the deities. And when that moment came to have a first darshan, everybody became so eager, and they all rushed to the altar, which is sort of breaking of the regulative principles, because one is not supposed to go directly in front of Lord Jagannath. So they are breaking the rules. So you can ask, how can they do this? They should show example to all of us. So at first glance, it would look like that this breaking the regulative principle is not good. In Upadeshamrita, we find 6 things that destroy bhakti, that are unfavorable for bhakti. What are these? Atyahara, paryasascha, prajalpo, niyam agraha, jana sangarscha loyalamcha, shabdir bhakti vinashyati. So here we have something called niyam agraha, which could be translated in 2 different ways. If you have it with the with the long a, niyama agraha, then means sticking to the rules and regulations, being very eager to follow the rules and regulations more than it's necessary. And if you have a short here, niyam agraha, that means breaking the rules and regulations, neglecting the rules and regulations like they are not important. So both of these, too much sticking to the rules and regulations and breaking them, they are unfavorable for bhakti and they destroy one's devotional service. So here, Lord Chaitanya and all his followers, they are rushing to the altar and breaking this regulative principle, this niyama of not being too close to the Lord, but their breaking is not unfavorable. Strict following is a hallmark, is a characteristic of Vaidhi Saguna Bhakti, where the strict rules and regulations are the topmost characteristic. But Lord Chaitanya and his associates, they are rushing to the altar out of their great eagerness to see the Lord. And this eagerness is a sign of spontaneous devotional service, of Raga Bhakti, of Raganuga and Ragatmika Bhakti. So eagerness to see the Lord is actually the topic we have been given for this class. Also Bengali and Hindi class, they have the same topic and same verses. So I looked what Srila Prabhupada says on that, and actually I found one very, very nice lecture that Srila Prabhupada gave on this topic in Los Angeles, August 15, 1972. The lesson was so impressive that they published it in Back to Godhead magazine, and they even reprinted it in one small book called The Journey of Self-Discovery. Basically, most of that lecture is published in that book, Journey of Self-Discovery. This is the book that you distribute to new people. And I want to go to some parts of this lecture because Srila Prabhupada is very inspiring what he speaks here. So he starts explaining, if one is eager to see God, or he appears to be eager to see God, he needs a qualification. Since seeing God is not some cheap thing. For seeing God, we need some qualification. Like if you want to see President, you cannot just go and say, I want to see President Modi or Trump or whomever. No, you need a qualification. So what is that qualification? So Srila Prabhupada says, Namam dushkritino muda prapadyante naradama. Sinful rascals, fools, the lowest of mankind, they inquire like that. Can you show me God? What is the qualification? What qualification have you acquired by which you can see God? Here is the qualification. Tat shradadhana munayo. One must first be faithful, shradadhana. So this is the first qualification. So Srila Prabhupada refers to verse from the 2nd chapter of the 1st canto. Tat shradadhana munayo. Those sages, those munis who have firm faith in absolute truth, jnana vairagya yuktaya, who are endowed with the knowledge and renunciation, pashyanti atmani chatman. Within themselves they see the Supreme Self, the Paramatma, the Lord. Bhaktya Shuddha Grihitaya. Through that bhakti, to that devotional service acquired by hearing. So through hearing, they see the Lord. So this is the first qualification to see the Lord, to be faithful, to have a faith, what you heard from the Shastra. But then, once we have this faith, what else we need? I'm continuing reading what Srila Prabhupada says. One must actually be very much eager to see God. Not that one takes it as a frivolous thing. Can you show me God? Or as some magic. They think God is magic. No. One must be very serious and think, yes, I have been informed about God, so if there is a God, I must see Him. So first thing, we are informed, we hear from the Shastra and from the devotees, there is a Krishna, there is a God, there is a spiritual world. So we receive some knowledge. We have a theoretical knowledge of the God. And we should have faith, we should be faithful, we should have some shraddha. Theoretical knowledge is better than no knowledge, but it's knowledge with the faith. And then after that, Prabhupada says, eager. Then I need to become eager. Once we heard about God, I want to see Him. I want to have a realization, actually, of what I have heard. So in this connection, Srila Prabhupada tells one very nice story. Yeah. There was one professional Bhagavatam reciter who spoke Bhagavad Saptaha, and he told about Krishna Vrindavan pastimes. So in this Bhagavad Saptaha assembly, there was one thief who was listening to the story. And he heard how this speaker is describing how Krishna is decorated with all sorts of gems and jewels, very valuable. So thief got idea. So why should I not go to Vrindavan and plunder this boy? I can just catch him, take all his ornaments, and become a millionaire. And he was serious, that was his intention. I must find that boy. So Srila Prabhupada says, the thief's qualification was his feeling. I must see Krishna, I must see Krishna. That anxiety, that eagerness made it possible for him to actually see Krishna in Vrindavan. So that was his qualification, just eagerness to see Krishna and steal his ornaments. So he went there and he actually met Krishna and he saw him as the Bhagavatam speaker described him. And he flattered Krishna. Oh, you're such a nice boy. And he told him, oh, can I have your ornaments? But Krishna said, no. My mother Yashoda, she will be very angry. I cannot give them away. So Krishna, in this way, he was playing with the thief. But as the time was passing and Krishna was not giving his ornament, the thief was becoming more and more eager. But due to Krishna's association, he was becoming purified. At last, at the end, Krishna said, okay, you can take them. And in this way, the thief became a devotee. Yeah. So Prabhupada says, so somehow or other, you should come in contact with Krishna. Then you will be purified. So this story is illustrating Krishna's all-purifying power. If somehow or other we become eager for Krishna and absorb our mind in Krishna, we'll achieve all success. In 2nd canto, Srinarada Muni, he instructs King Yudhishthir about this. Kamad veshat bhayat snehad yattha bhaktyeshware manaha aveshya tat agam hitva bhavas tad gatim gataha. He says that many in the past, bhavas tad gatim hita, they attained the supreme goal. How? By being attached to the Lord, to devotion, whether it's driven by kama, by dvesha, by lust, by hatred, by bhaya, by fear, by sneha, by affection. If somehow or other your mind becomes absorbed in Krishna, you will achieve the supreme destination. And then Narada Muni in the next verse, he gives examples of different devotees, different persons who achieve this success. So Gopya kamat bhayat kamso. So gopis, they achieve all success by kama, transcendental lust. Kamsa by bhaya, by fear. Dvesha chaitadyo nripa. Shishupal and other kings by hatred and envy. Sambadat vrishnaya snehad yuyam. Vrishna is by family relationship. Pandavas by their affection to Krishna. They consider Krishna as their dear friend and cousin, and they have a lot of love and affection, and through this affection they achieve him. Vrishna is by their family relationship. Krishna is our relative. And Bhaktya Vayam Vibho, we general devotees, Narada is saying about himself and other devotees by our devotional service. So these are the ways how actually the mind can be absorbed in Krishna and one can attain full perfection. I'm going to go back to the Srila Prabhupada's lecture. He is now giving the example of the gopis as the topmost example of eagerness. So Prabhupada says, the gopis, another example of great eagerness to see Krishna. The gopis came to Krishna being captivated by his beautiful features. They were young girls and Krishna was so beautiful. Actually, they were lusty when they came to Krishna, but Krishna is so pure that they became first-class devotees. There's no comparison to the gopis' devotion because they loved Krishna with heart and soul. That is the qualification. They loved Krishna so much that they didn't care for family or reputation when they went out in the dead of night. Krishna's flute was sounding and they were all fleeing their homes. Their fathers, their brothers, their husbands all said, "Where are you going? Where are you going in this dead of night?" But the gopis, they didn't care. They neglected their children, their family, everything. They only thought, we must go to Krishna. And some of the gopis, they were even prevented from going by their husbands, so they left their bodies out of great eagerness. But those who managed to escape, they escaped in spite of all obstacles of the family members and husbands and parents and everybody. They left small babies crying. They just left because their attraction to Krishna was so great. So Srila Prabhupada says, this eagerness is required We must be very, very eager to see Krishna. Many gopis who were forcibly stopped from going to Krishna lost their lives because of their great feelings of separation. So this eagerness is wanted. Then you can see God. Whether you are lusty or a thief or a murderer or whatever it may be, somehow or other you must develop this eagerness, this desire. I must see Krishna. Then Krishna will be seen. So somehow or other, even if we are murderer or thief, if we develop this desire, Krishna will be seen. And just a little more from Prabhupada, the first thing Krishna is looking for is how eager you are to see Him. Krishna will respond. If you are actually eager to see Krishna, whether you are lusty or you want to steal His ornaments or some way or other you have become attracted to Krishna, then it is sure your efforts will be successful. Srila Rupa Goswami also nicely illustrates this in one famous verse found in Padyavali. Smiram bangi thaya parichitam sachi vistirna drishtim. He's describing Krishna standing, smiling in his tribhanga, triple bending posture with the sidelong glances casting everywhere. Vamshri nastyadhara kishalayam ujvalam chandrakena. His tender lips placed on the flute, shining with the moon-like forehead ornament. Govindakyam harithanum ittakeshi titropakante. That form of Lord Hare, known as Govinda, is standing here on the Keshi Ghat, on the Keshi Tirtha. Ma prekshithastava yadi sakya bandhu sange astirangaha. Don't look at him, my friend, if you still find pleasure in the company of family and friends. So this is one gopi telling to another gopi, if you still want to maintain your attachment to your family, don't look there, because once you look, you will become attracted to Govinda, and then all your material attachment will be finished. You'll forget everything. So in another verse, Srila Rupa Goswami says, again, famous verse, from which Srila Prabhupada derived Krishna consciousness. Krishna bhakti rasa bhavithamati tatra laulyam appi moolam ekalam janma koti sukritar na labhyate. So if a mind or consciousness absorbed in the mellow of Krishna bhakti rasa is available anywhere, you should purchase it at any cost. You must purchase it. So the only price for this Krishna bhakti rasa is what? Laulyam. Eager longing, greed for it. It cannot be attained by any other means, by activities performed over the millions of lifetimes, by pious activities. Janma koti sukritar na labhyate. You cannot get it. But many ashrameda yagyas and rajasuya sacrifices. So how can it be attained? Srila Prabhupada answers this. Yes, Krishna consciousness is available. You can purchase it from this Krishna consciousness movement. So you just come here to ISKCON and you purchase it, get a coupon. No, I'm just kidding. But what is the price? It is such a nice thing. But you have to pay the price. What is that? Tatra laulyam api moolam ekalam. Simply your eagerness. That is the price. You have to pay this price. Then you get Krishna immediately. Krishna is not poor. And the Krishna seller, the Krishna devotee, he's also not poor. He can distribute Krishna free. And he is doing that. You simply have to purchase him by your eagerness. So we don't need money actually or anything else. Only what we need is eagerness. And then we can get it from Krishna seller. And who is that Krishna seller? Srila Prabhupada is a Krishna seller. He's selling Krishna for the price of this eagerness. Okay, if the eagerness is the only price, how we get this eagerness? Can I go and buy eagerness somewhere? Srila Prabhupada answers also that. So he says, someone may say, oh, eagerness, I have eagerness. But it's not so easy. Janma koti sukritari na labhyate. This eagerness cannot be achieved even by executing pious activities for millions of births. If you simply go on performing pious activities, still this eagerness is not available. So this eagerness to achieve pure love for Krishna doesn't come to the heart so easily. So how does it come? Prabhupada answers this question. So this eagerness is very important thing, but it can be awakened only by the association of devotees. Therefore, we are giving everyone a chance to invoke this eagerness, and you will see God face to face. So Prabhupada says it's available only by association, by sadhu sangha. The lobha or laulya is available only by the mercy of those who already have it, or by mercy of Krishna. Rupa Goswami in Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu, he says, the only causes of the appearance of lobha, of eagerness or sacred greed in the heart is the mercy of Krishna or his devotee. So, either mercy of Krishna or Krishna's devotee. Therefore, some call the path of Raga Nuga Bhakti also Pushti Marg, the path of grace. So he speaks this in the context of explaining spontaneous devotional service or Raga Nuga Bhakti. And Srila Vishnu Chakri Thakur in his Raga Vartma Chandrika, he also gives the causes for appearance of this eagerness. He says the mercy of God or the mercy of another anuragi devotee is the cause for appearance of this greed, of this eagerness in the heart. And then there are again two kinds of mercy bestowed by devotee, praktana and adhunika. Praktana means mercy bestowed by raga bhakta in a previous life, and adhunika is mercy that is received in this present birth. But its main characteristic of this great eagerness, this lobha, is that it's not prompted or motivated by any scriptural injunctions, by duty, by fear. It doesn't come to the heart by intellectual reasoning. I can think, oh, I'm eager, positive thinking. No, it's not going to come in this way. But you cannot artificially create it. It comes to the heart only by mercy of Krishna or by mercy of advanced devotee, of Raga Bhakta. So in the previous chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the 11th chapter, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he explains some details about it. When the king, Maharaj Prataparudra, he observed that all the devotees from Bengal who came, they all rushed to residence of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instead of first going to see Lord Jagannātha. You would expect first they will go to the Lord Jagannāth's temple, have a darshan there, and then go see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But no, they are rushing there. So the king is very surprised, and he is asking Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya to explain this to him. And Bhattacharya, he says, Bata kohe etha swabhavika premarita Mahaprabhu mili bhare utkhantika chita. This is spontaneous love. All the devotees are very anxious to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then king is asking Bhattacharya, why have devotees not observed the regulations for visiting the pilgrimage place, such as fasting, shaving, and so on? Why have they first eaten prasadam? When you come to the holy place, you're supposed to observe brahmacharya, to fast, to shave, to bathe. But no, devotees, they neglect all this. They accept the prasadam immediately. And Bhattacharya is explaining to him, he said, what have you said is right according to regulative principles governing the visiting of holy places, but there is another path, which is a path of spontaneous love. According to those principles, there are subtle intricacies involved in the execution of religious principles. So these scriptural injunctions for shaving, fasting, and so on, they are indirect orders of the Lord. However, when there is a direct order of the Lord to take prasadam, naturally the devotees will take prasadam. So Lord Chaitanya just told them all, just take prasadam. So they are following his direct order. They don't need to follow the scriptural injunctions. So Bhattacharya also gives his example how previously when he just got up from the bed, Lord Chaitanya, he came to his room and he gave him prasadam in his hand, and Bhattacharya immediately took it without even washing his mouth. and Mahaprabhu was very, very happy with him because he broke so-called principles and he honored Mahaprasadam. So sometimes social customs, conventions, rules and regulations, they they present some obstacle in a devotional service. And then if one is following the sincere eagerness to see the Lord, to serve the Lord, then he can neglect these lower sort of restrictions. Maharprataparudra, he was also great example of this eagerness. His eagerness was to see Lord Chaitanya. If you remember, because he was a king, he could not be granted the darshan of the Lord. Why? Because sannyasis in those days, strictly, they didn't meet any king, any wealthy person, because that would be considered a fall down, and the public would criticize the sannyasis. So Lord Chaitanya was strictly saying, no, I cannot meet the king. Although Sarma Bhattacharya, he tried to persuade Lord Chaitanya, but Mahaprabhu was very strict. So king from Katak, he was ruling the Oriya kingdom from Katak, not from the Puri. So he wrote a letter to Bhattacharya asking him to again try somehow to arrange darshan of the Lord. But Mahaprabhu told him there's no way, no chance. And then king wrote back and said, then please ask devotees of the Lord like Swarup Damodar, like Nityananda, Shivas Thakur, Ramananda Roy, ask them please that they appeal on my behalf. And they did actually. Ramananda Roy, he was very tactfully softening Mahaprabhu's heart by describing the ecstatic love of the king, how great devotee the king was. Mahaprabhu was melting gradually, but still he was outside, externally he was very rigid, and he said, no, I cannot. But then even Nityananda, he was appealing on the king's behalf and asking the Lord. And Mahaprabhu said, I will do whatever Swarup Damodar tells me. Otherwise, I will not meet the king. But if Swarup Damodar tells me to meet the king, I'll meet the king. And Swarup Damodar, of course, it was very inappropriate for him to demand such a thing from the Lord. He said, my Lord, you will do whatever you want. But I know, because the king is a great devotee, you will meet him. At the end, they made the arrangement that the garment, Nityananda made the arrangement that all garment of Mahaprabhu was sent to the king. And when the king received the garment, he was very happy, like personally meeting the Lord. And later we hear the pastimes how the prince, the Maharaj Prataparudra's son, he met the Lord, and through this, actually, it was same like personally meeting the Lord, because son meeting the Lord is the same as a father meeting the Lord. And of course, later during the Ratha Yatra, we'll hear the description how actually Mahaprabhu granted full mercy to the king by allowing him to enter the garden when he was arresting in ecstatic love and massage his feet. And Parudra Maharaj, he was reciting Gopi Gita, and Mahaprabhu embraced him and he was very happy with him. So in this way, his eagerness was rewarded, and Mahaprabhu showed him his mercy. Anyway, it's Ratha Yatra going on outside, it's difficult to speak, so we will conclude. I just want to again make this point that was the topic of this class, that somehow or other we must become eager to become fully Krishna conscious. We must pay the price to get prema, to get pure love of God. That intense hearing, that laulyam, that lobha, it's absolutely necessary. So following the rules and regulations of path of Vaidhi Bhakti is good, it's nice, but it lacks intensity and power that is necessary to bring us to the point of meeting the Lord. You know, if you're doing something day after day, out of duty or maybe out of fear, you're coming from Mangal, you're doing this, chanting so many rounds. After some time, it might become, boring, stale, even mechanic. It might not have much life. So we don't want to just externally perform devotional service, to drag our feet year after year. and thinking, oh, when I'm going to finish my rounds. A real spiritual life is not that lifeless. A real spiritual life means great, great eagerness, that you really want to do things for Krishna. It's a thrilling experience. You're drawn by irresistible force from within. And this is a very strong, current, strong wind in your back that is pushing you forward. So this is this laulyam, this eagerness, this greed, that is very strong pull towards Krishna. And only that will change our heart and the mind. So somehow or other, we must get it. By mercy of Krishna, by mercy of devotees, we must find those devotees. Where to find, you'll ask. Well, Srila Prabhupada is one such devotee. If you remember, in the Narada Muni, in his previous life, he met these Bhaktivedantas, great sages, and from them he got this great eagerness that actually made him perfect. So we can take advantage of association of Srila Prabhupada and try to develop this eagerness. Okay, I think it's too loud now. Stop here, unless you have any comments or questions. Yes, Mataji has something, if you can hear gongs.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I hope I'm audible. Prabhu, I need some clarification on the point that you said niyamagraha. I think you said too much attached to the rules and regulations. But if I remember correctly from Nectar of Instruction, it says following rules and regulations for some material benefit and not for the advancement of Krishna consciousness is niyamagraha. So is it the same? In Nectar of Instruction, if I remember correctly, it is written that niyamagraha is following rules and regulations for some material benefit, not for advancement of Krishna consciousness. So is it the same, like being more attached to the rules and regulations is the same as you mentioned?
Yes. So this is sometimes translated following for the sake of following only, or following for your own personal benefit. So why you are so strongly attached and sticking to these rules and regulations? Because you want some benefit from it. And you are very much afraid if you break it, you will be punished. So that's why you are very much attached, but this attachment actually presents an obstacle. It's obstacle because then you neglect something that is higher. Like in this case, if all the devotees with Mahaprabhu, if they didn't rush to the altar to see Lord Jagannātha, they would, they would follow the rules and regulations, but they wouldn't be able to see the Lord, and they wouldn't follow their heart that was pulling them towards the Lord Jagannātha. So they would neglect pure love. They would neglect something that is much higher than these rules for deity worship. So one who is a smarta, who is very much attached to these rules and regulations, no, he will stick to the rules and regulations at every cost. And in certain instances, this over attachment to rules and regulations, it becomes obstacle because you're just following for the sake of the rules for your own personal benefit. But you are not seeing what is the purpose of these rules and regulations. Actually, the meaning and the purpose of the rules and regulations is to increase your love for Krishna, to bring you closer to Krishna. But if following the rules of regulation is removing you from Krishna, then you should, stop following them. Otherwise, they're obstacle. So it requires some discrimination. It's a subtle intricacies, as Prabhupada and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya explain here. It requires some maturity to distinguish where the rules can be broken. Of course, neophytes always should better stick to the rules and regulations. But one who is a little more advanced, he can actually distinguish where the rules can be broken and for which purpose they can be broken. Otherwise, Prabhupada, when he came to the West, he made so many adjustments to the rules and regulations, and many of his god brothers, Smarta Brahmanas in India, they criticized him very heavily. Oh, you initiated mlechas and yavanas, you gave Brahman initiation to them, you initiated women, he did so many things that were considered forbidden in a traditional sense of Smarta rules and regulations. But Prabhupada knew what he was doing. He was doing it to please Krishna, and it yielded great success. So this is the great example. Srila Prabhupada's adjustments of rule regulations for the pleasure of Krishna, for the sake of spreading Krishna consciousness. So some discrimination is needed, and that requires little maturity. So if we cannot discriminate, we better ask somebody who is senior who can discriminate. Okay, yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu, for the class. Prabhuji, sometimes we hear that we should be strict with ourselves and lenient with others. So how to apply this principle?
Yes, this is a great saying. First, you be strict with yourself, meaning you cannot impose some rules and regulations on others. Sometimes we tend to be much more strict with others. When we see somebody, he's eating with his left hand, he took a prasadam with his left hand, or he did some small mistake, we are immediately very heavy to chastise and cut that person. And when we do same mistake, no problem, it's just a mistake. So in that sense, it's not our duty, unless we are guru of that person, it's not our duty to correct and instruct others. So let them do whatever they can do. We should try to encourage them, not to put them down by smashing them and correcting every small mistake they are making. Of course, if we are some bhakta leader or temple commander or president and we have a duty to correct them, we should do them, but we should do that in a sensitive way, in a tactful way, that is inspiring, encouraging, that is not, discouraging. We need, they're persons, they're sensitive. So always try to be inspiring, encouraging, even if they make mistakes. And the rules, it's not everything is in the rules. Sometimes the devotees see, somebody is making, some visitor is making a selfie in front of the deities. Of course, it's forbidden, it should not be done. But if you rush and, hit him and take a cell phone, this is too much, It's a small mistake and he doesn't know. Don't be so harsh. Just, you can politely tell him, no selfie. But don't smash the person. The rules is not worth of so much, harshness. So some, sensitivity should be there. Okay, thank you all very much. We'll stop here. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Jagannath bless Subhadra Maharani ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.